Now, I remember when I released my August update video, everyone in the comment section were just going off about how their favorite card, the PEKKA, had been nerfed into oblivion. But now that balances have officially gone into place, is that really the case? In fact, PEKKA use rates have actually gone up from 15% before the balance to 21% as of yesterday. Hey guys, that's right here, and in today's episode, we're going to be taking a deeper dive into whether or not I truly think the PEKKA got a nerf or a buff in the most recent August update. Now before we get into the episode, if you could drop a like and subscribe to my channel, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, go check out my socials, links in the description, and without further ado, let's get right into it. So let's go ahead and start by analyzing the new PEKKA and breaking down each part of the balance change. Hit point nerf. So of course, the PEKKA got a pretty hefty 9.5% decrease in its hit points from 3450 to 3125. So it's about a 300 damage difference. Now of course, on the surface, everyone seemingly freaked out saying that, it was simply just way too much. And yes, it does appear that way. The PEKKA, with her decreased HP, will be in a sense easier to take out on an offense. However, that was the entire point, cutting her health to make overcoming that defense just a bit more manageable. However, if I'm going to be completely honest, this hit point difference hasn't been all that noticeable. On average, I'd say that after a defense, a PEKKA usually survives with around half health, and if you just take 300 hit points off of that, the PEKKA will still do her job on a defense. The control archetype, which PEKKA is the most relevant in, has a big focus on defending a push and then counter pushing. So even if the PEKKA dies on a defense, that doesn't prevent a control player from still manufacturing a big elixir advantage even if the PEKKA dies. So overall, PEKKA is still super strong, and even when just considering the hit point nerf alone, the card is still completely viable. Now don't get me wrong, beatdown players will be able to take that PEKKA out a little bit easier, but since she still does do the same amount of damage, she can still dish out an effective defense in a shorter amount of time actually, due to that range buff, which I will get to in a little bit. However, most other non-beatdown decks won't actually be affected by this change whatsoever, as on an offense, they usually don't have much DPS anyway, meaning that the PEKKA isn't supposed to be taken out anyway. She will be a bit easier to take out on a counter push, but again, if her main use is going to be on defense, that won't be too big of an issue. So overall, I feel like due to this nerf, the PEKKA has become an increasingly defensive and controlling based card, even more so than before. You have to really focus more on playing her on defense, that way she can get a lot more value, and especially since she does have quite a few less hit points, you have to utilize them as effectively as possible. That being said, this isn't taking into account of her range buff, which I will get into right now. Range buff. Now, the PEKKA range buff is quite the biggie of this balance. In fact, with her range increase from short to long, that literally just completely doubles her swing range from 0.8 tiles to 1.6 tiles. Now, in these first few weeks, I'm sure a lot of the community will be just adjusting to the new PEKKA range. So we'll probably see the PEKKA's win rates go a little bit higher than they normally would, as the community is still getting used to how long that swing actually is. The PEKKA's range actually benefits her in so many different ways. The biggest one that I'm sure you guys have all seen is that she won't be as easily distracted. As you can see by this hog push, the PEKKA seemingly should be distracted on these skeletons, but instead she stays locked onto the hog and takes him out nice and easily. In addition, the range helps her get so many more swings in. As you can see, the PEKKA starts her swing from so much farther back, being able to take care of this super duper easily. On offense, the same thing applies. The PEKKA can get her swings in a lot faster, meaning that despite with 300 less hit points, she will also be able to reach other units as well as the tower a lot faster. So how will this change affect the PEKKA's role? Well, I think if anything, it makes the PEKKA a lot stronger, and which is why I think they had to decrease her hit points. Even against something such as a golem push, the PEKKA will no longer get distracted on any supporting units and take out the golem as efficiently as she possibly can. In addition to that, it makes the PEKKA much stronger on offense as well, which again is why the hit point nerf was necessary. Since she can hit units so much faster, they also made her a bit weaker. And as you can see, she can still get some really nice value. Finally, one more interesting effect that this change will have is that I think the P.E.K.K.A.'s skill level will also take a slight dip. In many cases, you'll notice that you'll no longer need a super precise placement or a super precise timing to pull off some really great defenses. So let's go ahead and come to a conclusion. Was the P.E.K.K.A. buffed or nerfed in this update? Well, in my honest opinion, once we actually got to see gameplay of the new card, I think it actually turned out to be a very slight buff, but also in a way a rework. For a lot more range on her sword, we sacrificed about 300 HP on that P.E.K.K.A. at tournament standard, and personally, I think I value that bigger range a little higher than that extra HP. She will be much stronger against decks such as Hog Rider, Balloon, and other archetypes, especially since that increased range will cause her to become a lot more effective on defense, but instead she'll be slightly weaker to Golem, whose main goal is to instead DPS down the P.E.K.K.A., and when we don't have those extra hit points, she will be taken out a lot easier. Again, this is definitely a very interesting change. I don't know if this was the best change they could make, but now that I actually got to play with it, I do like the change quite a bit. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on this P.E.K.K.A. balance down below. I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts on this change. But unfortunately, guys, that's all I've got time for in today's episode. If you enjoyed, please leave a like down below as well as a subscription to my channel. And as always, this is Legendaray, and I'm signing off. See you guys next time.